Oh man, Monday night, and bro, we're actually running on time.
Hey, put it on my tab, chat. Put
Wow.
it on my tab, chat.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know that means we have to have a guest. So, because if it's just Phil and Theo, we're just gonna sit here and be like, should we go? Nah, I need a minute. Hold on. I need a minute. Hold on, I need a minute. Yeah. So I
How
absolutely.
the hell is everybody? What's it been? A week? 2 weeks?
It's definitely been 2 weeks. It's definitely been 2 weeks. 100%.
And
GT
I was
Comics,
off for a whole.
yeah.
I took a whole week off social media.
Well, you had good reason.
Did I? Did I?
I mean, I consider it a good reason. Theo, for those that don't know, why don't you just let it all out there?
Okay, so for those that don't know, I just had baby number 4. Baby boys, healthy, happy. I'm sleep deprived, and mom's okay. So we're winning.
Theo's opening his own institute for gifted youngsters in the near future right now.
Where's the X-Men emoji?
I know, right? We need something for that. We need a whole different one. It
needs to be like
Well, that said, my friend, let's get this party started. What do you say? Yeah, let's go. Oh, so congratulations. I know I've said it privately, but I just realized here in the chat, I was just that guy that all of a sudden just goes, yeah, he had a baby. Oh, whatever. So love you, bro. Much love to that.
I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
Beautiful wife of yours that puts up with you.
A nice little break. I feel somewhat refreshed. Let's get down to business.
Let's get down to business.
I got sales coming up. We got collection sale coming up. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff later. But right now,
we have a very special guest joining us, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, we do.
At least his third, possibly fourth appearance. I think he is now probably.
He's been out a few times.
Yeah. I think this is definitely probably our most frequent guest. Unfortunately for him, Mickey Swagglehouse.
I'm at the level of appearances where it's not collectible anymore. You know,
we're have to get you a jacket. There's got to be like a gold jacket club kind of thing, like they have for the guys on SNL.
Once you hit 5 appearances,
when am I going to get my own solo title? You know what I mean? Like that's what I need. You know,
it's like this man should have his own show.
Limited series. Thanks again, guys, for having me on the show. And
always a pleasure.
Theo, big congratulations to you, sir. I mean, you're ready to like be the Professor X, start your own school here. You know, you're gonna have your own mutant team.
Hey, fingers crossed. Maybe one day we'll have like a nice big booth set up. I'll have a kid at like every 5 short boxes. There'll be a kid to help somebody with a question.
Theo's just looking to start his own little league team. He just wants his own little league team for himself. Yeah. He can just go in and coach, and the kids have to listen because he takes them home at the end of the day.
Or, even better, right? We could have somebody that does bagging and boarding, a pricer, a grader, somebody to do shipping, right? And I just we got an assembly line.
That seems like the dream right
there. Featured enough to get a jacket, like Redman and Wu-Tang. Not a member, but featured enough to get a jacket. Amen. So,
let's
Mickey,
talk some
go ahead.
Let's talk some comics here.
Yeah, as Mickey, you've been a busy man. I mean, you do have your own show on YouTube, all your different social media accounts. Obviously, we all know that takes time, that takes effort. But you've been pouring yourself into for quite some time in a way, because you didn't talk about it at first. This has been something you've been working on, but you've been pouring yourself into your own publication. You have been your own comic, serial scenario. So that being said, I'll queue up the video in a moment, but just give us a little bit of background on how long you've been working on all this.
Yeah, so the comic series that I've been working on, it's called Sanity. I started it probably 2022 was when I sort of thought, hey, maybe that'd be kind of cool to, execute a comic book. And it was last year when I finally got to put a Kickstarter together for issue number 1 and bring that out and get it published and printed and fulfilled and then brought to, Comic Cons and things like that. And it was successful enough that I was like, okay, we can maybe kind of continue this here and get into issues 2 and 3. So we got our Kickstarter live for that right now. And just trying to live the dream here. I very, very quickly, obviously we're in the comic book space. We all love comic book collecting. Outside of my YouTube, I work in film and entertainment. And, I do a lot of genre writing and stuff. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to like combine both the worlds and, do something that's like a little bit of a throwback to the vintage style of detective comics, that we all sort of love to collect and do a version of my own. And so that's kind of what started this all.
Oh, that's awesome,
amazing.
brother.
Yeah.
That's and to be honest, it's intimidating. Just
weren't you just signing at WonderCon or?
I did go to WonderCon.
Yeah, signing your comic book for people.
Well, yes, I had the issue 1 there. Had a little table at my friend's booth and everything, and so was just there for a little hour and got to shake hands and kiss babies and just kind of
no big deal, just an hour signing your comic book.
Oh my god!
Someday, Theo, it's a dream, brother.
You're almost as bad as Phil with the bagging and boarding. Jeez.
Oh, come on. Don't even go there. He is so much better than that. It's not even the same. It's not even the same.
I know, I'm kidding.
Hey, just welcoming Comic Ozzy into the West, Ryan Longden, GT Comics, Actual Dracula. Thank you guys for joining. Sincerely appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
So, Mickey, that being the case, I'm going to bring up the Kickstarter and we're going to talk a little bit about issue 1, issue 2. Sure. Where this is kind of going. I got a few questions. So that being the case, let me go ahead and add that on up here. And I'm going to make it nice and large.
They say if you stare into the abyss stares back at you. Well, I've been looking for a long time, and I feel its eyes all around me. We live in strange times. Fact has been blurred with fiction. And in this city of madness, seeing doesn't always mean believing. It means questioning. I like it that way.
I like it.
Questioning people's intentions. Questioning one's surroundings. And sometimes questioning your own sanity. Let the abyss stare back at me. I want it that way. I need
What
to
is
be
this, a
seen.
movie?
Because truth isn't something you find.
What is this, a movie,
something
bro?
that finds you.
This is an upcoming HBO Cinemax TV show?
Hey everyone.
Well, I would leave it on I would leave it on our guy there. But,
Yeah, I don't want to look at it's so cringy listening to your own, videos and stuff. So let's cut away from that. Let's move on here. Let's not show that part of the video.
That what's the worst? Side note, what's the worst though? Speaking of listening to your own voice, I had to do this recently, is when you have to listen to a really long sale that you did just to figure something out, and you have to listen to like all of it. You're like, oh, I hate me.
the only thing that's worse is being the other guy in the room that has to listen to it the whole rest of the time. Love you, bro. I love you.
I hope Avengers music plays in your sleep.
It still plays in the back of my mind with this clawing sensation in my brain, just going. Dun, 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 dun. I get a little nervous twitch every time I hear it now. I just can't even start to tick.
I will say one thing. You know the quote, like a picture's worth 1,000 words, right?
Mm-hmm.
that holds so much weight when I was watching that video, right? You didn't really need a lot of narration or actual really anything to show and illustrate what the hell is happening there. You know what I mean? It was pretty impactful, the illustrations and the drawings in that video. I'm not gonna lie. So
Oh, thank you.
kudos on that, my friend. Very good job. Yeah.
Appreciate
and that's
it.
Santiago, right?
Yes, Santiago Espina is my interior artist, and then he did the A covers for the comic. So that's really just me putting together a trailer with his amazing artwork, and then
No, artwork is killer, dude. Yeah.
And the interiors have been tremendous as well. I'm used to and for a lot of my friends that have done Kickstarters and things of that nature, I don't want to sound I don't want to sound rude when I say it, but I'm very often accustomed to a drop off from cover to interior art. Now, obviously, with the interior artist doing the cover A, which I have here as well, that's obviously, well, duh, Phil. But at the same time, too, I mean, you obviously got yourself a great interior guy to pull this together for you. How long did that take to find?
Yeah, I had a couple friends who have done some Kickstarter comic books, and so I was familiar with a lot of artists in the indie space. And Santiago had worked with one of them on a mini series, and really it was just his art style that attracted me. Whereas he had a really gritty, very heavily inked kind of tone that felt like, okay, this could be really cool, for the style that I'm going for. So I reached out to him. I mentioned 2022 was when I wrote the script and put together a treatment and did that whole thing. And so it was towards that end of the year where I initially reached out to him and said, hey, are you interested in this? And I showed him all the scripts and the materials and what I was thinking. And he was willing to do it. He took it on. So, we started back then and yeah, it's been amazing working with him on it. I mean, he just elevates everything that, I write, which is great.
And it's been a couple
quick
questions.
question. Yeah, I was
Go
going
ahead,
to
Theo. You answer it. I just dropped the
I
link
was
in
going
chat.
to say, Swag, quick question for anybody that doesn't know. Is there a way that everybody can buy issue 1 and 2 directly from you?
Yes. So for Neri Nan, you can get issues 1 in the Kickstarter. If you've ever done Kickstarter before and you do your pledges and stuff, on the back end, there's add-ons. So you can add on issue 1 to that pledge if that's how you would like to get it. But if you'd like to get issue 1 just now and not have to wait for it to come with the other stuff, you can go to my website, which is swagelhauscomics.com, and you can order it there. So it depends on how you want to get it. Yeah.
Awesome.
So as people can see here too, on the Kickstarter, you've got all your different areas in which you can pledge, all the information, cover previews, and it would really kind of come down to the add-ons, the reward tiers, things of that nature, to kind of pick the different kinds of books you'd be able to get with that. So there you go, guys. Kickstarter right there. Link is in the chat. Go ahead and and click on that. Go ahead, Theo.
Congratulations, sir.
Before you go, Theo.
And did you guys already meet your funding for issue number 2?
It did. Yeah. It was super humbled and very lucky. It got to the funding goal in the first, couple hours. And so now it's, there's some stretch goals and things that are out there. And really, really to me, it's, all this extra money that goes to the Kickstarter really just gets invested back into the book in a lot of ways to do nicer stretch goal stuff. And then obviously to fund the rest of the comic books and stuff. So
how many issues are you planning, or is it unknown so far?
So I'm definitely going to issue 6, especially since the success of this Kickstarter is okay, cool. I think there's enough interest here and I'll have enough of a cushion to fund through that so I can get that out. So I'll definitely go through issue 6 and, I kind of put a bow on sort of this first arc of the miniseries. And then, if there's still interest from there, I would love to have this be ongoing. I'm trying to really build out a world and an IP, and I'm starting very, very, very,
Mm-hmm.
granular with, where this story is and, have ideas and layouts.
So no action figures, video games just yet.
Funny you should say action figure stuff. I just started dipping my toes into all this and like learning how to do 3D printing and
Yeah.
models and all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, maybe that could be something to play with. But we really have to you got to build out the world. You got to get people invested in the story before they would.
Well, right. Yeah, you don't be like a McFarlane toy. You get people to basically fund it first, and yeah.
That's true.
So-
Yeah.
So this is a very Lovecraftian,
That's awesome.
old detective noir pulp
Yeah.
feel and world, right? And by Lovecraftian is that
Cosmic
that
horror
thin
genre.
veil beginning to kind of get unveiled with everything that's kind of going on with the different cultist eldritch symbols that are kind of coming out. We've got our main character that's going to be Robert, and he meets this this famous actress and Ms. Dumas. I can't remember her. Catherine.
Yeah, that was right. Yeah.
So Catherine kind of comes into his office, and that classic kind of, like when I was reading, I could kind of almost see it in black and white. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was kind of just kind of seeing it in that mannerism, right? And the artistry in there really kind of captured it, in my opinion, too. That grainy feel, that the grit of that time and place, right? It has that feel of film almost, when you're looking at the actual layout. And it's beautiful. It's well done. And I've only read issue 1, so there's a lot of questions that I know are hopefully going to start to morph into more. I don't want at the same time give away issue 1 for those that have not seen it yet in the chat. But it is, if you are into those detective pulps, those old crime stories of sorts with that Lovecraftian weird sci-fi vibe and feel.
Almost like a little Sin City vibe sprinkled in there too, almost,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely the noir aspect there. And
yeah,
there's I'm a big fan of sort of the Lovecraft mythos and world, and the cosmic horror and the fear of the unknown, and the veil between what is true and what is not in reality, and versus otherworldly dimensions and stuff. And I feel like it's always very fertile ground for stories that are kind of classic noir detectives, where their job is to investigate truth and find out the true meaning behind things. And it's kind of this juxtaposition of investigating this murder, but then finding out about things that are beyond his perception of reality. And so it's kind of there's always a sort of a nice interplay between the two, and that's really what kind of branches out into as far as like the themes are concerned.
Yeah, but what so I mean, these are wonderful themes, but at the same time too, they're not commonplace in comics right now either, right? So they're not something that definitely unique. Definitely catch the vibe 100%, but it's what inspired that? What made you choose this route versus others? Because you've been involved in comics for a while. You've got your hands in different places to kind of get the different feels for what's going on in those spaces. What really brought out this, like, what we need? I mean, what really brought that thought process out?
Yeah. Well, for me, it's, this is my first like foray into comics. I've worked in entertainment, I've done screenwriting, I've worked in animation and stuff. But I know that going into comic books, like most of the people who are going to be aware of this or give me an opportunity to prove myself and read this are going to be people who maybe know me from my YouTube channel, right? I mean, that's going to be a lot of the people that support this. And the one thing I know about my own taste with comic books and the people who watch my channel and a lot of the stuff we talk about is, more on the vintage side. And comic books, they came from the classic pulp adventures. They were birthed out of that 1930s era of like the hard-boiled detective, who had to investigate the thing. And then there was weird, creepy, occulty stuff. And then you got the PCH with the skulls on the cover and weird stuff. So it was like, taking that genre that I think is familiar to people, at least aesthetically, and then trying to do a version that, or like my own spin on it, and trying to bring it into, archetype of a story that I think people would enjoy today. So that was kind of why I decided to go this route with it.
So Catherine's brother is the one missing, and James, and he is the quest. Everybody's in search of this character as of this time and point, and we leave it with obviously these occultist symbols are showing up. We're seeing it in the newspaper in the background of different crime scenes. We're seeing it on this envelope, but at the very end, it seems that little and I hate to use the word again, but the veil is pierced. Something is seen by Robert, and he's just like, and honestly, he has no way to explain it. And that's where you were kind of saying too, like, it's the sanity of it all. Like, I'm going crazy, beautiful. Number one, really loving that so far. But when it came to starting to think about the creatures we're going to see in this, I get the Lovecraftian aspect of it, but what kinds of monsters were your inspiration that you were working on with the artist to really kind of bring these out in each of the cells?
Well, we're definitely, want to be true to kind of the Lovecraft sort of world, and we're in that detective space. And you mentioned earlier one of the scenes, which is like the classic femme fatale who comes in the dark room and the detective thing, and it's those familiar tropes that we like, and we are actually embracing these things. So similarly, as far as like the monsters are concerned, there's some core Lovecraftian monsters that are of this world that we are indexing on. And so, but of course, giving our own little sort of twist and spin on it. And the ones that you see have reasons that will be elaborated upon later on. But it's pulling the sort of known creatures from that universe and kind of putting it into our own.
Because I saw the creature from the Black Lagoon on one of the panel previews. I mean, and I don't know if that's cover art or.
Well, that one is, there's this element of 1930s Hollywood here, and our detective is very distrusting of why he's been picked to investigate this case. And so he's not so convinced that everything is on the up and up. And so that's kind of this interplay. He has cause for distrust here. And so, here you have this actress who's coincidentally starring in these horror films that are, in a love to kind of the Universal monsters and stuff like that, which again is, all the like classic vintage old school stuff that we like. And
right.
So that's kind of where it is, it's a homage to the creature from the Black Lagoon, which is kind of in the Lovecraft world, but it's not quite the same as what he saw. And he doesn't quite know what to make of that.
Yeah. I mean,
stuff, yeah.
You've got like Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi kind of time frame of those Universal monster actors, actresses time frame. I mean, obviously they were always the monsters, but at the same time too, it was golden age of cinema. It's definitely it's one of the main reasons why I love going to Universal Studios every Halloween. It's those old monsters roaming around, and at any rate, I can definitely see the inspiration. And I just want to say, I was very impressed when I read your first issue. I've been lucky enough to get sent, lots of friends that decide to kind of jump out there and do something, but I was very, very impressed. And also too, this is publishing is not easy, man. Like when it comes to a process, Theo knows too, because Theo's worked very closely with our friends at like Stranger Comics and Sebastian's. I'm sure he could tell you all the horror stories. Sebastian's told him. Yeah,
there's a reason why I don't do exclusives.
It is definitely.
I've tiptoed in that pool. I'm good. I'd rather swim in the ocean.
Fulfillment. I don't know how you guys do it with the
dude. It's stressful. Yeah.
But what about you? How'd you navigate all those waters, Mickey?
Well, luckily, I mean, we all know how to ship comic books, so there's that. So I knew going into it that it was like, okay, I know how to fold a Gemini mailer. I can get this in people's hands, you know. But it really was a big learning process. Like going with figuring out all the vendors, like printing vendors, like learning what do you call it? I'm going to butcher the terms, but just like all the aspect ratios of like all the TIFF files, and it's a lot of that. It's a lot of file management as well, and knowing where everything goes. And big shout out to my letterer Davison Maines, who was very helpful in even just having to like do graphic design for the comic itself. Like the things that you don't think about. It's like you open up the cover, and then the interior of the cover, like, well, it has to have like a texture on it, right? So we had to like make something for that, and everything has to be in multiples of 4 when you print. So it's like, okay, well, we have this many pages, but then like, what are we going to put on this one page? So it's very inside baseball stuff that you have to think about, and learning all of the processes to get it to people was just trial and error, and hopefully I didn't error too much.
I don't think you did, brother. I think
you did great, dude. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How many years did this take off your life?
I don't know, people say I look a lot older. They're like, you look at your videos from like earlier, and it's like, you look so much younger. I'm like, thank you. I appreciate that.
Welcome to my life. Yeah.
Theo might finally get a gray hair. God damn. We had to have a 4th kid for it to happen, but it'll happen.
I'm still waiting, dude. I'm still waiting.
Still waiting. I hate this. Man.
Still a great hairline you got there. Still nice and tight and square.
You guys have no idea how lucky you are. I've got this little, I got this little mohawk at the beginning I just used to diffuse with. You take it while you can. So that being the case, go check it out. Kickstarter, Sanity. Issue 2 is dropping now. Now that you've been funded, when do we think we might be seeing something coming out for issue 2?
So this Kickstarter is actually for 2 and 3. So you'll get both of those comics together.
Right.
And then last time I was able to get things done fairly quick based on like the Kickstarter. The things that I'm adding is like basically most of the comic book is done. There's a few pages that we're still kind of finishing, but most of it is done. It's all written and all that. And I kind of have a tier in my Kickstarter that's like a shout out page. So there's like little things that I need to do, like gather everyone's name and put them in the book and
nice.
Add those pages in and stuff. So I don't know, hopefully early summer. I mean, I'd love to have it at San Diego Comic-Con. You know what I mean? Like I'd love it to be there, but I don't want to overpromise that. Like I set
San Diego.
I will be there. I will be there for sure.
Right, we will be there. So you already know.
Yeah.
No
promises though. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome, dude. So congratulations, guys. Issues 2 and 3 are available on Kickstarter now. Make sure you get on out there, pick, and hopefully grab your add-on from issue 1 if you have not gotten to read this tremendous series so far. We're going to be getting right up to that 3rd portion. We're going to be getting right into the meat of where it is we need to get for those 6-issue first arc. And brother, that's just huge round of applause.
And then he's gonna have a trade paperback.
Yeah. Oh yeah, collection.
Cool.
Yeah. I like my trades.
Better have a wraparound cover. Just saying.
Yeah, I like my trades. I like my trades and my hardcovers
That's
too.
what I'm saying, bro. Issues 1 through 6 trade. You heard it here first, guys. Just saying.
So something else you've been talking about a lot, Mickey, and I know Theo's got a lot of opinions on this. I'm going to probably be just turning over the conversation.
Oh God, we're already flipping the script now.
We gotta go.
I mean, it wouldn't be called Comics and Chaos, right?
Well, let's get into the chaos. CGC announces the 9.9s are coming. It's the whole, the dead, I can see dead people, and the White Walkers are on their way, but the 9.9s are on their way. They're starting to make little sightings here and there. I'd like you guys to kind of give me your opinions on this. And honestly, in this case, Mickey, I'm actually going to defer to my co-host here first and let Theo kind of take his opinions on this, because these guys have much more educated and often used opinions on this topic. The 9.9. Theo, what's your opinion?
So, as some of you may or may not know, there was a recent video that came out about a Giant Size X-Men 1 that was given a 9.9. We've had people like Swag and Automatic Comics and the new 9.9 newsstand. Shout out to those fine gentlemen on videos with close-ups on that Giant Size X-Men. And I must say that that book indeed does not look like a 9.9, at least to my standards, or I think to most people's standards. Maybe it matches with the video that CGC came out with. That's like their 9.9 pre-screen video. Maybe it matches that, and they've lowered their standards. I don't know. I just think it's kind of finicky that there's one that exists and it's not on census as well. And the person that's holding it just so happens to be the guy that's like selling it on Comic Link, who's been rumored to be a show bidder. So these are a lot of unfortunate allegations that if I was a seller, I would probably feel the need to address it to save my face. But the fact that he carries on like nothing's going on is kind of fucking hilarious. But that's what I think. What do I know?
Mickey.
Long story short, it just seems like a bunch of fuckery going on. I don't like it. I don't trust it. And I'm glad I'm not involved in it.
I think for me, I've said a couple times on my channel where I don't know what it was. It just sort of felt like the 9.9s and the 10s kind of felt like the next frontier for grading in CGC. And frankly, if you could I bet if you asked CGC leadership, if they could wave a magic wand and go back to when they started their company, would they have made 9.9 just kind of the go-to 9.8 grade, instead, and maybe got rid of that? I bet that they would, because I bet once maybe Matt, this is all my tinfoil hat. I just feel like once Matt made the grading guidebook, then it kind of was if this is what a 9.9 is, then actually isn't that really a 9.8? And so all these things. And so I don't know. I just kind of felt like they've just sort of decided, hey, let's try to start giving more 9.9s out. And it was only a matter of time, before we got one of these big boy books to show up in 9.9. And yeah, I think the community,
it's all about who's showing it, how it's being shown, and when it's being shown. And all of it is question marks right now.
For sure, CGC doesn't have the best PR team.
I don't think they have one. I think you're being nice and assuming that they have one.
Yeah. That's the scale right there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's this heat map. And I remember getting this. I grabbed a copy for both Theo and I at I think it was C2E2.
It's hilarious that you can grade that.
Yeah, it's well, I'm not even gonna get into that, but I was just gonna say that.
Stop it.
But looking at the heat map, I remember looking at the heat map and I was thinking to myself, damn, there should be more 9.9s out there if this is if this is the grading scale. Because I remember seeing some things that were like 9.8. So I'm like, and it doesn't even have the stuff that's on what would be okay for a 9.9. I was a little shocked. So I get where you're coming from, where it comes from a place of maybe we should have started at the 9.9. Maybe there shouldn't have been as many 9.8s. Maybe we should have had that space to grow for how we did it. But it is not being well handled in the PR space, because I don't feel like they definitely have I don't feel like it's being well handled. But that's not new for CGC.
Yeah,
that's not.
No, it's not. It's kind of sad too. Just saying. Anyway, whatever.
Well, what was funny is we talked a little bit about this offline, before the show started, and I was at WonderCon this past weekend, and I just have to say, from just you see people in the vintage collecting section, and just from the collectors that were there and the dealers that were there, this seemed to be the one that just everyone had thoughts about this and wanted to talk about it, or everyone, they thought this was a more interesting topic almost than even the other lawsuit stuff that had happened. And I don't know what it is. I feel like it touched the nerve. Everyone's got opinions on it. But
Well,
yeah.
it's like, some people's eyeballs saw money signs and others saw red flags, and some people
Mhm.
saw both.
And for me, like as a person, yes, I don't slab very much, but I do have a few. But I feel like for me, the biggest thing about this is the long-term ramifications. I mean, very often the little controversies that we get into, they're not little, excuse me, I'm using the wrong term, but the controversies that have come into have been more like, is cleanup aisle 5. Okay, fixed. We're done. We've moved on, right? This is going to be like whole new aisle 5. And what was aisle 5 is now aisle 6. And we're putting this right here. And this is where everybody, it feels like this is going to not only change what is going forward, but what also has been in the past, because that was something that you brought up with. It is a topic with a lot of people out there, but we both, and we all three in here kind of brought this up conversationally. And I know you specifically broached it, Swag. So this isn't, some genius question Phil brought up. This is also just like there was 9.6 hunters out there looking to make that 9.8. Now there's 9.8 hunters looking to crack, press, resubmit for a 9.9. just nods like, yeah, there is, dumbass. You answered your own question. There was no was that a statement? Was that a question? Was that no? I mean, like, what's do you feel like that's like going to be the new trend though too, when it comes to a lot of people hunting for books? Is going to be everybody looking for that 9.8, that huge investment, hoping for the 9.9, but is it going to dramatically change the 9.8? What's your guys' kind of forecast opinion on that kind of concept?
What do you think, Rage?
I think the 9.8s for whatever gets a 9.9, whatever's in a 9.8 is going to go down in value. Not everything, but if all of a sudden, for example, the most submitted book on the census is ASM 300. So if all of a sudden there's 200 9.9s that pop up within 6 months, for example, of an ASM 300, do we think that the value of everything else underneath it's going to go up or down? What do you guys think?
Well, it's going to go down because
I just don't think anybody's going to justify paying X amount of dollars for a 9.8, knowing that a 9.9 is available.
Yeah.
Or knowing that a 9.9 is now obtainable, quote unquote. Right? Like Phil was saying, people are going to be like, well, fuck, I'll just buy a 9.8 or I'll buy a 9.6. Screw, we'll roll the dice.
Yeah.
9.4 even at this point. Fuck, anything above a 9.0, you could probably take a look at and maybe you'll get a 9.9.
It'll be interesting to see. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't know if this is how 9.8 pre-screens work, but like, can you, so let's say you had, I don't know, ASM 300s. Can you like send them in as like 9.8s through 9.8 pre-screen so that you protect yourself from dropping to 9.6? You know what I'm saying?
I believe you can select multiples.
Because I feel like if there's no risk in dropping, then everyone's going to do it. You know.
I mean, it stands to reason. Absolutely. And there's also been some other news with CGC too. And I'm not saying we're off this topic of it, but let's get into the signatures. CGC now, verifying signatures, makes all those autograph books that I sold for, pennies on the dollar at the time, just because I couldn't get it in a CGC slab without it coming back all up or something, kind of make me want to blow my brains out when I look back in retrospect. But at the same time too, with them verifying signatures, what do you think that means for competition in this marketplace, namely CBCS?
I was going to say, I think if I was CBCS, I'd be a little bit worried about it. I mean, I don't know how big of this, say, signature verification is a part of their business. Maybe it's not actually that big. And if that's the case, then maybe they don't care. But if it is
for CBCS,
yeah,
it has to be.
If it's a big part of their business,
it has to be like the second most thing for them.
Then I would definitely be
grading.
worried. Yeah, I'd be worried
Like,
because it,
no way, dude. Nobody uses them unless they either want an honest grade and good case or signature verification.
yeah, because there's a lot of dealers.
Because otherwise, you'll never use them unless it's for PC or signature. That's it. Like that. Like
There's definitely a lot of those dealers that, send a lot to CGC, and then when they come across a book that has a signature on it, then those are the few that they send to BCS.
Yeah,
And now it's,
you don't have to do that,
Yeah.
dude. They're gonna lose a lot of business.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
but on the flip side, I mean, it kind of it sort of just makes sense that CGC would do this,
I kind of don't like it though, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, but I think it's also it's a bigger picture move for them, because it's not just comics, right? It's like they're moving into like the pulps and the mangas
Posters,
and they have VHSs and stuff. Like I don't know what the autograph market is for VHS.
I'm surprised they don't do Funkos yet.
Yeah, I mean maybe they'll do that. It feels like
Yet
they would want to be the anything collectible. Like they need to have
anything. Yeah.
baseball,
agree with that, too.
basketball, football, all the cards, all the spaces, all the places. And I know a lot of people were rejoicing at the same time too, but at the same time, there's going to be a price hike. There's going to be changes. This was an acquisition. This was money spent that's going to have to get made up from something, and it's going to get made up on everything, ultimately speaking. So I know a lot of people, are like, this is awesome, about time, applause. Reading my Instagram feed, I'm just like, a lot of you guys are gonna be the first people bitching about the new prices that came out from CGC. Like, oh, what? You're like, well, dude, this is what happens when the big get bigger. They eat more. And if this is a death knell, or at least a major point of concern for people like CBCS, if we lose what little competition they were in the market in comics, it's going to get a lot worse, because when you're the only game in town, you're the only game in town, people are going to pay to play.
Right. I agree with that. Yeah.
And that they'll probably charge a decent amount for this JSA thing, because getting a witness signature, it's not easy. Like, no. Or it's not a hassle, right? Like you guys know, like you go to the con.
I think the witness signatures, like I think they'll be like true yellow, and then the other one's going to be maybe like an off yellow, or maybe they'll make the witness one like more of a deeper gold. Actually, I don't know, but I think the witness signatures are going to command a premium for sure. For sure.
Or will it be a service they're not going to provide the same way anymore, Theo? I mean, they might just say too, like, yeah, all of a sudden our con prices are going to go down because we don't have to pay for that anymore. You send it in, it gets verified. It is what it is. At least until somebody, forges one and then sends it into, like they did to CBCS, and be like, no, I just made up that standard e-signature, and sends it in, and we get a whole expose on YouTube about that. But
I'm sure somebody's going to do that.
100%. Something's going to happen.
Now, my question is, if you do that and like you're not anonymous about it, aren't you admitting to doing forgery?
Well,
fraud?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's illegal, right? So somebody's going to be willing to take the hit on that.
Yeah. I
mean, it's going to happen. It's going to happen at some point. Even if they're 99.9% perfect, like, that they're going to make some error with it. And that'll be a thing when it's a thing. That's for sure.
Oh, no, it's definitely going to be a thing. And that's, again, that's just my opinion. But I just remembered seeing it and thinking to myself, oh, no. I mean, I get it that it's a market they should be in. As a business, they need to definitely move into these other areas and realms, and you want to be the only game in town. But when it comes to being a consumer, it's just like you see the little mom and pops getting swept out for the Walmarts and all the other big boys when they start coming to town. there is going to be effects, so I just hope the community's also considering that when they're, celebrating, dropping, World War II ticker tape and banners all over the way. Oh, look at this is awesome. Like, maybe time will tell. Kind of like the 9.9s. This is going to play out over time.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I mean,
don't
like
it.
I don't want to be too doom and gloom, right? Like, I mean, hopefully it becomes a service that people will value, and everyone's gonna be able to have their favorite collectible encapsulated now.
Well, and we also see the change in the comic book market too, in collecting and selling. Selling's not as easy as it was 2 years ago. The prices are not worth as much as what they were 2 years ago. Will it go down farther? Maybe. Will it go up? Is it bottomed out already? Maybe. Is it kind of trending back up? Maybe. I'm not the economist to really tell, but at the same time too, I mean, that's going to become less of a market of people that feel the need to turn in every single thing like they were 2 years ago. When that one random variant just dropped on Wednesday, and you ran in and you picked up that 1 in 100 ratio, and it took 3 months to get back, but maybe it's still worth money. But I'm just not sure at the same time too that they would be able to survive if they didn't absorb some more of these things to do. And I think that rates will have to go up to keep them in business, just because I'm not sure if the comic book community is at the same place that it was a few years ago to sustain a business like this. I mean, do you guys see any changes in your personal slab culture over these last few years from where you were a couple of years ago?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I can tell you. You know what? I would say I actually slab more now than I did when I started, but I'm more selective on what I slab now. But 95% of what I sell is raw.
Is it mostly 9.8 pre-screen stuff that you submit though?
Most of the time, it's a 9.8.
Okay.
Or obviously, if it's older or something like that, I'm a little more lenient on the grade. But generally speaking, it's generally the highest grade, which is why it's encapsulated. It's something that's in pristine condition,
Mm-hmm.
Not everything should be fucking graded. So if it's going to be graded, better be in good fucking shape.
Yeah.
And it's probably more modern. It's probably more modern too to get that.
Unless it's golden, silver, major key issue, et cetera, right? There's circumstances. But
yeah.
For the most part, dude, it shouldn't be fucking graded.
Yeah, for me, even though I have a bunch of slabs in my head, I'm not a big slabber. Like, as far as like, I don't send in that many submissions. I literally could count the number of times. Maybe it's been like 4 times in my life that I've sent in books, and usually it's like, oh, it's because this is an X-Men one. I probably should slab it. Like just stuff like that where.
I mean, it has a top loader, like.
Yeah. I'm more like, when certain comics are of a certain value, something should happen to me, and they go to someone else, then they should, know what the values are. So that's kind of what my philosophy on grading them.
Yeah, those family gift kinds of things that are going to be in your PC forever. I can totally appreciate that.
Or if I'm going to trade it, if I'm trying to trade into another book, then it's like, oh, here's this is a clear defined value of what it is. So those are like the reasons I do it it's more for my own personal hobbying.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally get it. And again, like I said, it's
also to protect you. I mean, protects you, protects the buyer, protects the seller. Like, it's good all around.
But when it comes to protecting things of that nature, let's just touch on this one last little point too. It was a question somebody brought up earlier. Does it matter to you if it's an AI engine or if it's just Joe Schmo that's doing the grading? And that not that CGC is there in any way, shape, or form, but there's obviously AI is getting more involved in everything every single day. We know people that are trying to work on AI engines when it comes to at least cover grading and things of that nature already. What's your guys' opinion on AI involvement in the grading process?
I'd love to see it, to be honest. I'd love it if that could be a thing. Because then you could be like, hey, GSX 199, AI said it was a 99, you know? I think we would be more willing to accept it if it was the same processes of how they came to their grades. So I think it'd be cool, actually, if we could get there. But I don't know. Maybe there's unintended consequences here, which Theo has in the back of his head. But what do you think?
I'm fine with it. I just know it's going to take away jobs from humans. And I know we're going to be in an iRobot one day. So just fucking do it. You know, whatever. Just fucking whatever.
We're already in the Black Mirror episode. Okay.
I know. We're already in the Matrix. Just
we're not getting out of this.
Just fucking let it happen.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Sorry, graders.
I can see from an arbitrary
but you guys
standpoint,
get tired and you need breaks, so
yeah.
whatever.
It's well, I mean, people have priced themselves out of a lot of things anyways, but at the same time too, in this place, in my opinion, grading is based on opinions when you're dealing with a person and their own personal interpretation of those different points. When it comes to AI,
feelings get in the way. Somebody could be grading an action 1 and they're like, this guy is not going to get a 9.2 action 1. Fuck this guy. You know, like people are like that, right? AI would be like, that's a 9.4, white page. Next.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I get from a grading standpoint that it definitely has its merits in the near distant future, and it's going to be here. I'm sure it'll be here in the next, I believe somebody said it's probably going to take like 5 years, and God knows we'll start getting our books back in a week, you know, kinds of things, because they're just running through a conveyor system, you know, super cheap.
Delivered by a drone too. You know, like, hey.
Yeah.
When are we going to start getting our CGC shipments with the new comic book Wednesdays? Is there going to start to be like 10 books guaranteed from the presses of Marvel of every single issue? Just going to have CGC already put it in with a 9.9.
Could you imagine?
My God. So what are the things? What are the things they have in the Bay Area? They have like the they drive like they're like little carts. They like drive on the sidewalks and they deliver your DoorDash and stuff. Like that's what I want from CGC. Just robots come to my house.
You know, it's going to be a thing. It'll be here eventually. But yeah, I can see the merits of it, but in my opinion, it's definitely going to take obviously away people's jobs. But at the same time, too, some of those people have made for some pretty freaking weird grades on things that I've seen. Like,
this is true. If they were a little bit more consistent, we wouldn't be having these talks. So.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like, how the hell did they get that grade?
One less hair was in a slab, guys. Okay.
In fairness, though, I think it would probably be a long time before it was like a true like machines that could be on this like assembly line.
I think AI would probably always get like 9.8 or better type stuff. The stuff that's like almost anybody can identify mint to near mint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or near mint to mint, right? It's like you could teach near mint to mint to a child almost. Like if they don't have to open the book because it's brand new and you just go cover, back cover, like it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm just saying we could trust AI with all moderns and high grade type stuff. It's when it comes down to like a golden age 0.5 with resto. You're going to show me plenty of examples of that working first before I even say, yeah, I trust it. You know what I mean?
But I wonder if it could be if the graders will have like an AI assist tool. So maybe like there's a place where it'll look at the cover, look at the back, and it'll give you the ballpark.
Oh, there you go. Boom.
Yeah, the human will
see. Yeah, like we agree. Yeah, high grades, mid grade and below, and anything like bronze or older, don't even bother.
Yeah.
There'd be a lot of super low grades coming back at that point if that were the case.
Well, it would be like
give it the trash.
NG, you know, the not gradable when it's like really a 0.5. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. No, I agree.
But yeah, no.
All right. Closing thoughts, gentlemen. Closing thoughts.
At least X-Men 97's been good.
That's what I was going to ask. What's your opinions on X-Men 97? Thank goodness, Theo. You already breached the topic for me. I didn't even have to do it. Man's already got my job nailed.
Honestly, it's been the one thing lately that I've like made sure I caught it when it came out on time. Everything else, I'm like, I'll catch it when I have time. X-Men 97 is the one thing that I've made time for. Yep.
High regard for Theo.
It's been
What about you, Mickey?
It's been good. It's been good. Let me bridge the topic. At WonderCon, giant size X-Men ones were like, I heard a lot of people saying like, hey, can I see your GSX on the wall? Hey, can I check out your GSX? It was like people were looking at it. Now it could be because it was the 99 hype, but it also could genuinely be because, X-Men books, X-Men 97 is very exciting right now. And people are very, once again, interested in that stuff. And I think the show's been great. Probably like not an easy thing to do. Like, I mean, they had to bring this show, back from 92. And like, it's hard to sort of quantify, like, what is it about the show that people want? It's like familiar, but kind of fresh, so they had to like thread that needle. And it seems like they've really done a good job.
It's like we want nostalgia with modern tech pumped in its veins.
Yeah.
I felt a lot of clean anime like vibes. I love Marvel. This is good. This to me is good Marvel animation. I am not a fan of the What If animation. I'm sorry.
I love it.
I do like the What If animation too. Yeah.
I love it.
I apologize.
Yeah.
I think and maybe it was just the opportunity that I think they missed to do a different animation style every episode because it was What If and they were dealing with different universes.
By the way,
I digress.
Season 2 with Peggy Carter and like Black Widow and that whole Black Room those episodes, dude, those were fucking.
She'll be back at Secret Wars. Calm down,
dude. Those were so good.
But I do feel like they did absolutely thread the needle. Episode 1 came out full force, showing Cyclops to be the leader we remember from the comics.
Bro,
we
Cyclops
were definitely never given in the X-Men series as a cartoon. I mean, he was getting
finally showed that his powers were concussive.
Yes,
that is true. Yes,
they finally showed him like boom, backing up, going forward. I'm like, ah,
yeah. That was definitely satisfying and cool. Although my one nitpick from episode 1. Can we talk about this? Are we in spoiler territory now?
Spoilers, man.
Dude, it's 3 episodes.
When he used his I-beam, when he used his I-beam to land from falling out of the airplane, I was like, what? No way he could do that. No way he could do that. They gave him such a power boost.
They did, but it was badass. You got to admit, it was a hell of an entrance, man.
Yeah, they were like Salah Ghaib right there. He was like the chosen one,
Mm-hmm.
But why? Okay, well, let me ask you this: since we know it has concussive, they went out of their way to showcase it. Why wouldn't that work?
Well, that's the thing. That's what's so fun about comic books is like,
like how could
the writer
not?
can always
Clearly him going full, like it has to do something.
I don't know. We need the super power analyzing comic lore nerds to break down like what is his concussive force, what's the speed of it, and actually based on his terminal velocity.
Snap his own goddamn neck when he was coming down with all that force and inertia and momentum.
And there's actually a YouTuber, I forget the name, so if you're watching this, I'm sorry I forgot it, but there's pretty well known too. There's somebody who actually talks about Cyclops, and the one thing nobody talks about is he's actually freaking durable as hell, because for him to be able to like just stand while those are going off, he's like up there with like Thor as far as like durability, dude, because otherwise every bone in his body should be breaking.
Right.
Like you shouldn't be able to like and hold it and then put your head forward like with it. Like honestly, you should be like boom, head back on concrete, just knock. Eyes are going everywhere,
Yeah, is there a physicist in the house? Can somebody give us some explanation here?
Yeah.
And there was a great question in here.
Am I wrong though? Come on, guys. Especially with the concussive ability, you should be knocked backwards. So the fact that he can hold his ground is like, bro.
He knows how to open his eyes ever so slightly. He can adjust his power level with his eyelids.
But you know what was crazy? There was a scene, I don't know if you guys remember this, where he was just talking to the female general. I forget her name, but you could see his eyes. They showed
Through
you
the
like his
visor.
actual
Yeah,
through the
yeah.
visor. Like that,
Yeah.
because his
Yeah.
eyes were always open. It's like you just saw like I'm
Yeah.
like, oh
Just
shit.
when he
dude.
pushes the button to make it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, it looked, I was like, oh dude, this dude looks sick.
Yeah, it was it was great. And I think this question, in my opinion, is definitely more for the adult fans, because I don't know if the kids have to go watch the other 5 seasons to get into it. It's possible, but it's also too going through an era and time that is very nostalgic to the adults. I think Disney's actually doing some major fan service with X-Men 97.
Yeah, they're doing some fixing right now.
Yeah.
They're like,
I
we're
would-
sorry, guys. We're sorry.
I would imagine that the show itself, like why it got, say, greenlit, is probably to bring back like the churned fan.
Yes.
You know, because like, I have so many friends. I am jealous of that. Yes, that's true. I have so many friends who you like are not into comic books, and they'll like be in the WhatsApps, or they'll shoot me the text and be like, "Hey, do you know that like this X-Men show is coming back?" And it's like, you know, if it's getting to them,
Yes.
oh yeah, they're capturing that churned comic fan or MCU fan with this one.
Yeah. And I honestly, this third episode, I have to say, was one of my favorite. We had Goblin Queen coming in.
Yeah.
We had Bishop, OPAF, just taking down every single one of those guys, just slowly
like, hit
pulling
me.
the beams together. It was good to see Bishop really kind of get a good scene. I mean, he had the cool one where he takes the head off. That was definitely dope. But just seeing like
Hey, one shot a
Cyclops
Sentinel.
hit me, and then they both look at each other like thank you, or like you're welcome.
You know what's the one?
Oh,
Dude,
God.
they gave everybody a power boost.
They really did.
I don't remember Beast being able to grab an ankle and go whoa, boom. I'm like, yo,
No.
dude, this dude's like the Hulk.
You know, it's funny. You watch that season 1 Night of the Sentinels episode, and then you watch this series first episode, and you see how much easier they can destroy Sentinels. You're like, yeah, they got the
You're
power
like,
boost.
dude, these guys have been working out.
Are you mad? Are you mad about that?
I'm not. No, I'm not mad about it. I just I know.
Okay, just making sure. Just
No,
making sure.
but,
Actually,
no,
you know
but in Mickey's defense, I would like to see a little more struggle.
Yeah, they have to struggle a little bit. You know what I will say too?
Like-
Here's my other like nitpick thing, and we need the Marvel physicists to explain this to me. I didn't realize that Morph, when he morphs, can adopt like the powers of the he turned into Archangel and he flew, and then he like turned into
Psylocke
Blob.
with the
Yeah. Like
so
wha-
that's what made his transformations like different than like a Mystique.
oh, he can do it.
Yeah, no, that he can do that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He's also based off of the animated series. Like his first appearance is the animated series, so he's a
Yeah.
character that came from the show. So they can kind of
That's true. They can do whatever.
at
they
any
want.
point they can throw in whatever they want, and we got to be like, okay,
Does
All
Morph
right.
exist?
because he doesn't come from a comic book. He's one
Yeah,
of the
that's
few mutants that appeared in the show, and then they put him in a comic book, and we're like, okay, we'll keep this guy. People like this more fucker. Like, what?
You know,
like,
does Morph exist in current Marvel publishing? Like, is he actually like in comics?
no idea.
no,
I don't know. That's more of a question for Theo. Theo's more of an X guy.
no.
than I
And
am.
as far as I know, the people that do read the modern X-Men, they say they've tried to retcon him into being like a form of changeling.
Okay.
Like, and that's what has like become Morph somehow. I don't buy that shit. To me, first appearance Morph is X-Men animated #1 comic book all day. You can't tell me anything else. So
He was
you
in
wanna say-
X-Files.
you want to retcon and say he's changeling or whatever? I don't believe it. Okay, but sure.
We're doing Domino all over.
Same
again.
with the domino thing. You know, it's like, dude, what? Get out of here, man. Okay, stop it. Just,
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, they definitely, everybody got souped up 100%.
Yeah, the explosive
No,
claws on Wolverine. I'm like, bro, what? You guys just figured this out?
That was honestly the show's been great. I am very pleased.
It's insane.
It's probably the most fan service that I've had and not felt like fan service. It just felt like I was just getting to relive something from my childhood that I missed. Like this
I
was a
do
lot.
need Nightcrawler to come though. Okay.
Oh, dude, we're
I
gonna
need
see
an
them all.
Iceman appearance.
Yeah.
We're gonna see them all, and I don't want to see them
I'm
as
missing a
Morph
few
doing it.
things here. Yeah.
I want to see these characters. I don't want to see them as Morph turning into him like he did with Psylocke and Archangel and all that. I don't want to see that.
I
I
need
get
Psylocke.
it. It's cool, but my God, if I could have Psylocke in an episode, I mean, we had Goblin Queen, so I mean, it wasn't the same outfit that I'm used to, but it was a good one. I was
Psylocke
still
was.
like,
He transformed instantly into Psylocke's outfit, so you knew who that was.
yeah, oh yeah, there was no question, no question. I boy, man, if they could get the 97 X-Men into the freaking MCU, MCU's fine. MCU's fine.
Well, then, like,
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for like Juggernaut to appear. Like, there's still some core characters. I'm like, all right, guys,
Yeah. There's definitely
bust it
like, you know,
out.
just everyone, the Apocalypse, even, you
Yeah,
know,
it's animated,
get it.
bro. You can get away
Yeah.
with it.
we
Be
need it all.
stupid with it.
And you know, it's funny. Did you talk about this, Phil, yet? I feel like now the rumors of like bring back animated Spider-Man,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
Yes.
Animated 94 just came out today. It was just talked about. Yeah, they're kicking it
Okay.
around.
I mean, this is,
Well,
I feel like with the success of this, they'll
Bring back Saturday
definitely
morning cartoons.
Sony signed over all animated Spider-Man rights back to Disney. They have every single Spider-Man iteration, whatever the they want to do with Spider-Man from an animated standpoint for television, they can do. They want to
Why
bring
are
in
you
Miles
waiting on
Morales
it?
on television, they can do. They want to relive 94 going forward with the old Sony version of the Spectacular Spider-Man, they can do. They can do whatever the fuck they want, and
Hey,
I hope they
waiting
do.
on.
Yeah.
I'm there for it.
Dude,
I'm
I
there
would start teasing that yesterday.
Yeah. Well, it's being kicked around. It's not official,
Man.
but the Sony side of the thing, that's 100% official. That's done. That's been in the water for a little while now. But from this standpoint, you know, I mean, in my opinion, Marvel shouldn't be waiting for Sony to introduce a live action Miles Morales. They should be introducing a TV animated version of him on a regular every single week basis. So that way everybody's going, I don't know if that's my Miles, if that's my, let them disbelieve a little bit on the Sony side of things. So they don't keep making all the money they're trying to. Cause
Yeah.
I mean, Sony's 75% of the movies coming out this year from Marvel. Marvel has, from the Disney standpoint, Deadpool.
They're
and
off to a
Wolverine.
hell of a start.
Well, I mean, that's the best one to have. But I mean, at the same time, too, that
Oh.
IP is taking a hit between Madam Web, Craven the Hunter,
Yeah.
Venom 3, The Last Dance. God, I just remember Let There Be Carnage, and that's like on my top 5 worst.
I mean, Into
comic
the
book movies ever.
Spider-Verse, I mean, it did well, but it didn't do nearly as well as the first one.
I
Did
thought
it?
it did as well. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
I think the
I think
box office was great for it.
Yeah. I think it was
Oh,
good.
okay.
I mean, it's
'Cause
like,
I thought it barely did as well as the first one.
No,
I think
it
for
did
what it
actually
is, it's still a massive success because, like, an animated feature film, it's probably like great for what they wanted to do. But to your point, yeah, they got to be sweating bullets with Venom 3 and Craven. The fact that they have to,
Right.
they still need to roll them out, you know, and the marketing for it and stuff. Like they're just probably, I don't know. Maybe Venom 3 will be good. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Man,
can't.
what a letdown Carnage was.
Yeah.
I honestly, I didn't like the first one either, though. I know a lot of people
I didn't
did.
either. Yeah.
I know a lot of people did, but I mean, it's just so and just so we're on the same page. Into the Spider-Verse grossed 19.3 million, bringing the domestic to 317 million. Worldwide churn of 560.3 million. And yeah, it did not do worse. It did not do worse. It did great. So yeah, they're on the same par. But and the third one will probably be even bigger because most of the people stopped just because they didn't want to see just a part two. The first part of a 2-part thing. They wanted to wait until the next one kind of came out, kind of like myself in some ways. But yeah,
Right.
Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse are doing great. And I think that's a great property, the Sony Animation. I think that the animators and Warner Brothers definitely screwed the pooch when they didn't make it for Batman Beyond, which they were offered
Fuck.
before Miles Morales. They took that whole style and they showed it to Warner Brothers, like, we want to do this for Batman Beyond. And they were like, and so Sony was just like, for Miles Morales, yeah, let's do it.
Dude, that thing is meant for Batman Beyond.
Yeah, it is.
It would look so much better too.
And
And
I
that's
still
saying
love,
something because this already looks great.
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
my point. Like, I'm not saying this is bad. This is fantastic. But in Batman Beyond, and where instead of Miles, holy hell! For those of you that don't know, Batman Beyond is like, if you enjoyed like techno and like nitty gritty cyberpunk vibes, Batman Beyond was it.
yeah, it's a very Neo Tokyo kind of vibe
Yeah,
and feel
like
to everything.
Batman Beyond is like hardcore, like future techno, like let's get down and dirty.
And in all honesty, Warner Brothers Animation doesn't usually miss a beat. They usually are very ahead of the curve. They're very
surprised on
forward-thinking.
that
They're
one, dude.
they're very smart. I was surprised when I read that, and they dropped all the little test cells for it. I was actually pretty like, I can't believe they passed on this. I can't believe they
Imagine
didn't
like the
see-
Joker or somebody in that animated form. Oh fuck!
Yeah, yeah.
Like the way
Yeah.
they made Kingpin and some of these characters look, I'm like, damn! Imagine Penguin, imagine Joker, Two-Face in that animation. Holy shit!
Yeah. I'd have been jacked.
Or
I'd have
because
been
they do
jacked.
like the Spider-Verse, I'm like, oh shit! I'm imagining what if it's like Batman Beyond, and then you saw like Nightwing, Robin, Batgirl, all these other Batman, like dude.
No, it would have been sick. It would have been absolutely sick. To be honest, it's
Have,
and
like,
especially too
Batman
after we
Beyond
just
and, like,
saw.
a variant of like Catwoman, like having a thing, you know? Like,
Oh, I also just think of too what we just experienced at the Emmys, seeing, Michael Keaton with the whole, as soon as I saw that, I'm just like, why haven't we done this fucking movie yet? It's just kind of like, and supposedly it was on the block, and then James Gunn was just like, well, I'm here now. It's not totally off, but it's definitely on the back burner.
People be sleeping on Terry McGinnis, bro.
That's why executives by committee shouldn't be in charge of, certain kinds of IP. And that's where Marvel did well by putting Kevin Feige in charge and putting their faith in him. Yes, they spread him too thin because they got greedy, but at the same time too, I think that if they're doing the same thing with James Gunn, we've got James Gunn, we have a good chance of, seeing some great stuff out of DC in the future. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
Disney's
know
got
how
a lot of
well
things to jump through.
I don't know how well the Otherworld portion of DC is going to work for them. Like, I think you might have the occasional just someone hits a home run, like an auteur person doing it. But I got to imagine that if you really got James Gunn to admit it, he'd say, like, I kind of don't want to have to deal with all that stuff.
I don't think he does.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And I think that's the whole
I don't
reason
have too
why.
much faith in DC right now. Just saying.
Well, that's the whole reason though too why I don't think Constantine 2 is going to be a thing. I know we're going to get the Matt
No way.
Reeves more Batmans, but I don't believe they're going to be as big. And to be honest, this whole jukebox musical, Harley Quinn with Lady Gaga and the Joker too, it might work, but I don't
God,
think it's going to work for the
I hope
comic
the
book
rumors are
community. That's going to
true.
be the mainstays for the Joker. I don't know.
I hope the rumors are true, and the entire movie, it's like in his head.
I think Todd Phillips is a good filmmaker, so I feel like, he'll probably do the best version of what he's trying to do with it. But yeah, I don't know.
Thanks, Derek. Hey, man. It's all. Maybe I should change it. I mean,
Those
change it
rooms,
to
the
red.
future. Pink and purple are like the most future color
Hey, you know,
choices.
Still of the future.
that's
Keep
in
that
my
in mind, guys.
logo.
Yeah,
Just
look, I
saying,
got
guys.
purple
Isn't that
too.
TV show? Yeah,
I have pink and purple in my logo.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just trying to keep up with the guys. Okay, I'm just trying to keep up with the talent that's in the room. I
We're all
have to
about
dress.
that Miami Vice, you know.
Yeah.
I have to
those
dress up
vibes.
the room despite the face. Okay, I have to make distractions. Not everybody's born with a Swaggle House or Rage Theo face. The rest of us have to work.
Ah,
All right.
The rest of us have to work. All right. Well, Mickey, it was a great night. Thank you, obviously, so much for joining us. I know it's been well over an hour, and so we want to, be appreciative of your time and your talents, and be thankful for you making it out here with us tonight, brother. So, big ups.
Thank
big
you, sir.
thank you.
No, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for having me on. It's always good talking to you guys. And yeah, thanks to everyone in the chat for hanging out. It's been fun.
Anything big going on this week for you that people should know about?
Nothing in particular. I'm sure I'll have some videos at some point. I did film a little bit at WonderCon, so I got to do some editing and put together a little video for that. But other than that, really, it's just the Kickstarter. So yeah, that's what's going on in my world.
Theo, what about you? What do you got going on this week?
fucking hell.
Being a
I'm
dad.
doing great. I'm doing great, guys. I'm doing great. No, we have some big announcements coming down the pipeline here in regards to some collection sales. But I do have an eBay Live show coming up pretty soon. Checking out a few collections this week. I think we have a couple IG Live sales lined up in the next couple weeks, and a lot of special announcements coming down the future here. Stay tuned, guys. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Lots of special announcements, lots of new things going on. Thank you guys all for another amazing episode and great hang. Sincerely appreciate it. For those that don't know, make sure you get over to Swag's Kickstarter for Sanity issues 2 and 3. All right, guys, you can get them both hopefully before the summer. He's been funded. We're getting there. So make sure you guys go check it out, please. And, as always, thank you so much for joining. And remember to tell your mom I said hi.